Okay, let's get started. So, first of all, good afternoon. Welcome to our very first Penn Engineering hosted DATS Alumni Speaker Connect series. Thanks to Stacy and our alumni, Federico and Khanvi, for joining us today. And today, it's our whole alumni session will be covering about their preparation, their journey, how did they work throughout the process, how did they work for their jobs, how did they manage time, and entire courseworks. So it's going to be and starting with their introduction and all their brief journey. We're going to end up with a Q&A, and any specific advice or questions you guys have, you can ask in the chat, or you can open your or like turn on your mic and also ask with them. So, and also I would like to thank Stacy for this opportunity, for having us schedule this meeting and schedule this entire alumni session. So now I would like Federico and Convi to introduce themselves, talk about their journey and the experience, how what was their basic, how did they prepare for entire journey. Thank you.
Kaveh, you can start.
Okay, sounds good. Hi, everyone. This is Khanvi. I'm a DAS alumni. We graduate, Federico and I graduate May 2024. Um, yeah, I am a data scientist at Aurora Innovation, a self-driving company. Before Aurora, I worked as a data scientist with Delta Airlines for a little bit over 2 years. Um, in Delta, I work on like AI production, which is how do we apply AI to smooth the operation, help with decision making. Um, how to run the airline efficiently. So happy to be here to share the journey with everyone, and also happy to learn more about this cohort. Passing to Federico.
Thank you, Vi. Hi, everyone. Federico as well, graduated in May 2024. I originally studied industrial engineering, so I don't come from the software engineering background. I was working as a data analyst, and then I did the program, and then from there, had a bunch of jobs. I was working as a data associate for the Democratic Party for the Harris campaign. And then I've been working as a product strategist for an early stage startup called Supper that does basically the BI platform using AI. And now next week, I'm starting as a senior data scientist for a consulting company. So it's been a lot of career moves recently, which is exciting. We can talk about that.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Kanvi and Federico. That's actually super exciting to hear about your career journey, how like you've been working in the industry for almost more than 2 years and getting promoting to senior roles right now, working as data scientist. And it's really exciting to hear about what you've been doing. I want to start the very first question, like a very basic question for both of you guys. Like, how can you walk us through like how did your career journey, what has been career journey so far? Like, how did you landed your very first role, and how did you prepare or worked along through your next roles, and what all preparations you did? Anything from basics of what you could, which you could help our cohorts and as the students to guide along, or for the overall.
You want to take that first?
All right, yeah, I can start. So I'm going to talk about my jobs in the US because before the masters I was working in Argentina. I think it's very different time and very different country. I think in the US, so the first job I got was an internship in between my first and second years at that. I got that, I would say, around January, February. So I started applying to internships around December. Honestly, I think I could have started earlier even than that. But still, I think there were some opportunities left by the second semester. And I joined Discover, just like a financial services company, and have credit cards. but it was on Chicago. I got a full-time offer, which was nice, but it wasn't. I didn't want to move to Chicago. I had like friends and family and like loved ones here in Philly, so I wanted to stay in Philly. And then after that, it was like a lot of months applying to full-time jobs, and it was pretty exhausting and hard. But my first job, which was the campaign job, I got from applying. I didn't get any referrals, but it wasn't on LinkedIn. It was on a like a listserv, like an email serve of like civil or nonprofit jobs that are shared. And like that's I think one of the advices I wanted to give is like, don't just limit yourself to what's on LinkedIn or scratching the surface. Like, go deep into areas that you are interested in, like industries or types of companies, and you will find a lot of resources like listservs, like people sharing posts, sharing open positions, and you might be able to find there even if you don't have something like someone referring you. But always having like a referral is helpful. After that job, which was short term, I knew it was going to be short term. I was hoping to win, but we didn't win. So if I won, maybe it would have been easier to find the next job. But I got this job that I'm now on Supper by reaching out to a job where I was interviewing before, and I got rejected. And I was like, hey, it was like 6 months later. I was like, just, checking in, seeing how you're doing, if there's any other positions open. And they were like, actually, yeah, there is a position open that we just opened. So they want to interview to that. And then that's how I got this current job as a product strategist. And now the one that I'm starting next week, I got through one of my best friends from the program. She is working as a data scientist. They had an opening, and I got referred to that. So yeah, it's been very different. I would say, like, for me, like, searching beyond LinkedIn and also getting like real referrals, people that really know you, not just people on LinkedIn that you reach out to. I think that has been the most impactful to get a job. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I got my first job through internship. So I interned at Delta for a semester. And then when I was there, just, try to push yourself out there, get coffee chat, talk to different people, understand the need of stakeholders, and, just like get yourself to be known. So I joined like multiple different events, like help volunteer. And then also at the same time, I work on like multiple different projects. It's like there's this one side project that is not on my agenda, but I talked to a business stakeholder and we realized, hey, we need that. And then it does a side project. So that side project is actually now in production. And everyone is still mentioned. It's actually started as a side project. Can we say, oh, we need that? And then we just do it. So I would say during your internship, yeah, like talk to different people, understand the business need, get yourself out there so it's easier to get a return offer. Um, I was lucky. My team I interned at that time has no position, but there's another like sister team that had an opening, and my manager reached out to them and be like, hey, we have like an intern here, did all of these works. Do you want to give her a try? And then I interviewed for that role and I got the offer. So stay in Delta for over 2 years. But before that, I also because we don't know that we will get a return offer or not. So like always put yourself, I would say always put yourself first while you intern, try to apply for full time as well. So I applied for a lot of full time applications, like positions. At that time, I got one offer from the Navy, but they required me to move to be like stay in the base, and that I'm not looking forward to, like, to stay in the base but not be able to, like, so you cannot bring your phone inside, you cannot do, like, you cannot search Stack Overflow, which is like, at that time, like, being a developer, not able to like search online and stuff. So I was like, okay, it may not be a good fit. And then I also got another position with Capgemini as a consultant, like data scientist consultant. But I just love Delta so much. That is the business impact that we had in the operation with Delta. So I decided to stay with Delta. And then within the time I was at Delta, I would say, even though you settle down, you have a job, full-time position, still put yourself out there, be known via LinkedIn. I have a YouTube channel that have AI tutorial, and honestly, that YouTube channel helped a lot. Like, I have a couple of interviews. I landed a job with Verizon, and I landed a job with um, Aurora Innovation, which is my current company now. And during that interview process, my recruiter would just like grab my YouTube channel, send to hiring manager, and say, "Hey, she has a YouTube channel," and that would be like a bit easier for you to like get impression from hiring manager.
That definitely like is a great experience to hear, like because recently like the market has been tough, and the work which you guys have been doing has been actually really really great too. So it is really great experience to hear about you. I want to ask a follow-up question on that. Since you've been finding for jobs and internships during the academics, how were you able to work on time management with courses, balancing a lot of other works and stuff? Because that's been a question for a lot of current cohorts, my cohort, the new cohorts, and all the cohorts have a lot of, and they're not able to schedule or manage their time efficiently while applying to jobs, preparing resumes, preparing for mock interviews, preparing for coding interviews, and the academics as well, with midterms, assignments, and a lot of stuff. So how were you able to manage your time during your academics? Is there any advice you would want to give to all the students, and any things you would want to say how to efficiently manage your schedule, balancing each and everything properly?
Yeah, I would say though, get yourself a good group of friends. I have Federico here together with two of my other friends and another group of friends that is like, we do mock interview for each other. Um and we share, for example, like, we would stay in the library in Van Pelt. We booked a room, and then we did the lead code, like we did the live lead code, and then we fix each other problem. Like, if I have a problem of, when I code, I can't talk during coding. I was like always keep silent. And my friend would point out, hey, you really need to talk it out. This is a very good point. You had this line of code. Now tell me, what are you doing? So like, speak up. So I have a group of friends like that. And we're staying in the library. We share resources. Hey, I know this job is posting. I already failed. Do you want to try it out? So, sharing resources. And to balance the time of the course, I would say, I at that time I try to take all class in the morning. So I have a class even start like 8 a.m. and then reserve all of my afternoon and evening for, so afternoon I can do like a little bit of homework, but my whole evening is to prep, to send out application, to reach out to people on LinkedIn, to make networking. Um, yeah, so like, be consistent. Have a checklist. I have a checklist that every day apply for 5 to 10 applications. Do I get it? Check. Um, do I do 2 to 3 lead code? Check. Do I reach out to people like one person at a time on LinkedIn? Check. So like, consistently doing it.
Yeah, you reminded me. We had this spreadsheet, right, where we were tracking all the jobs and like putting categories. And Liang, one of our friends, she would like dump a lot of jobs there, and yeah, that was really helpful. I would say for me, especially the first year was pretty tough in terms of times because I was also doing theater, which was like 9-10 hours per week. I was doing TA, which was like another 9-10 hours per week. The classes and job hunting. Um, I would say, besides everything Camille has said before, time blocking to me is pretty helpful. Like, even if you have a day that you have like maybe one or two classes and then nothing else, like put fake meetings in your calendar about doing stuff like, oh, this is like a meeting to apply to jobs. This is a meeting to do homework 3 of this class. And treat it as like, okay, this is like my time for doing that. Even if you don't stick to it, at least the fact that it's on your mind and it's on the calendar, it's like pushes you to actually do it and organize your time. So you can start every week and plan how the week is going to look by doing the time blocks. And then I would say, like, for the classes, just try to be as present as possible during the lectures. I have done it a lot of like scrolling on the phone, scrolling on Reddit on the class, or even like working on some homework for a different class. But I found it that if I was paying attention and engaging and like asking questions, then the time that it would take me to study for exams or for quizzes or doing the homework was actually much faster because I would already have the base that I needed. And I wasn't like chasing perfect grades, but I was still able to get like majority of A's, and not study too much because like I was pretty engaged in the class. So I would say that helped me as well.
I just want to chime into that because we sit on the first row of almost every class that we take together.
Yeah.
Always there because we know once we are the first row, we pay attention.
Yeah.
We engage the professor.
Thank you so much. Actually, that's really helpful to be honest, because it's been difficult for us as well to handle the courses and internships and all this stuff. Was there any specific courses would you guys recommend you followed which really help you in your job or interview preparations, or which you recommend definitely taking during your academics for the students here?
I would suggest two courses that are a little atypical. So like, of course, like doing big data analytics, machine learning, like those classes will help you for interviews, definitely, like for the technical part. But to me, the two courses that have had the most impact are not that data science related. The first one is probability models in marketing, Peter Fay's class in Wharton, just because that class, first of all, I had to make some projects, one of them on my own, which was pretty good. And like I was able to like make a paper out of it and like, yeah, 776er. And like have it in my LinkedIn, have it in my resume. But also like it always came up in conversations, either with people, like interviews where people know, like have been in Penn, maybe they were in Wharton and they know of Peter Fader, or they were in the program and they also took that class. Or even just like I would get asked about like projects I've done at school and stuff that is non-machine learning related, and like that would always come up. So that's a good one. And the second one is, it was called interactive fiction and text generation or something like that. It's a CCV class. I think it's like one of those special classes that happens only once in a while. But beyond just that class in particular, the special thing about it was that it was based on one project. Like the entire class was based on one project. And I didn't do a thesis or a practicum, but I did that. And to me, that was like my thesis because it was a big project that I got to work with 4 other people, got to do the team management. And then technically it was like we were building AI agents before AI agents were like a thing. We were building a fun game that we were able to present and then take to a workshop. And again, a lot of the things that happened there, even if the project itself didn't get anywhere, but it helped me get like a part-time job with Wharton, applying something similar. It helped me in interviews. It helped me like in so much. So I would say like a class that is more project focused and not only like theory, I think is good to have, especially towards the end of your master. I would say. I would focus at first on like getting the basis right, but then when you are finishing up doing something like that.
Yeah, I really like that. Like focus on the basic and make it right first. Like CIS 545, CIS 520, 519, like those courses are really the must. And then statistic for data science, ESE 541 or 542, I don't remember. But those are like foundation. Get it right first. And then I would say, yes, ESE 542. That's a tough class though. Um, and then I would say one of the class that I really, really like is CIS 7000, which is like offer, I think, one of a time. Is not like in the agenda. Stacy, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like it is not in the agenda and it's just like a pop-up class.
Yeah, they're topic classes. So each semester there's different topics. I think this semester we might have at least 7 to 9 sections, so different courses, and most of them count for the curriculum. Yeah.
So at that time, the beginning of spring 2024, which is like right at the edge that ChatGPT, GPT 3.5, which is like, everyone was talking about it. And the class called Machine Reasoning was taught by Professor Dan Ross, which is like one of the foundation of reasoning model. So within that class, we came in read paper. We read paper, 2 or 3 paper every week, presented the paper and try to replicate the paper. Really interesting. That is, so someone talked about AI hallucination, and then we try to replicate exactly that same problem and how do we solve that problem. And then someone talked about computer vision in AI, VLM. At that point, VLM is not really like pop up things. And then AI agent too, like how do we teach AI to reasoning and play game, and how do we inject the reasoning into the AI? So and then I wrote 2 papers within that class for like one semester, and really it's so interesting, and I think it shaped my career toward AI moving forward. So that's one class. And the second one is, I would say, if you want to do practicum or thesis, take one class. My advisor professor was Professor Sharat, and I worked with IEEE on an AI summary for IEEE, and we worked with a team, and that project, it went from like nothing, you just try to define a problem, to like nearly production. So it was such a great experience. And then design class, if you interested in consultant, be with Wharton Analytics Fellow, the WAF. I was there for 3 semesters working with Zillow, Fox, and then the Kimmel culture. So like those 3 projects actually can like help me a lot during my internship and then during my full time. Like what kind of activity other from like school academic paper that you did, like do you have any consultant work? Yeah, so like applying for WAF, it's a great experience.
Yeah, I would say I tried to apply for WAF and I didn't get in. I got rejected, but I tried too late. I think I tried only on my last semester, and it was like already super packed. But I would add to that, like even if it's not WAF, any kind of like project where you have like a stakeholder, like a client that you're working for, and you have deliverables, and you have to like think about that and manage a group. Like that is super valuable. And WAF allows you to do that, but you can also, there's other consulting clubs at Penn that are maybe not data science focused, but they probably will require some data science team member. And also you can even do it yourself. Like you can join the student government of DATS and, work together to find a client. Even Penn can be a client, honestly. Like there's always so many things going on. You can work for a professor, maybe doing like some research project, but just doing like a stakeholder led project, I think is super important, that it's outside of the classroom, that's outside of because the projects for the classrooms are usually very like, I don't know how to say it, but like they have guardrails, right? Like they are safe. And here is like you have to like, you're actually like building something for someone that requires you to explain what you're doing and explain what's going on, and even people that might not know what's going on, like the theory behind it. So that practice is super important. I feel like WAF gives you that, but you can also find other ways of doing that.
No, that definitely that definitely makes really sense, because WAF is like one of the greatest opportunities a lot of students from our cohort and different from our cohort and upcoming cohorts have been doing. One thing I want to ask specifically to Kanvi, she has been a part of WAF, Water Analytic Fellows for almost 3 semesters, and there is a deadline coming on September 14th. Any tips for students who are here who want to apply, get in, or successfully be a part this semester? You have any tips for them or any advice?
Yeah. Um, I I have no doubt about your technical skill, but then try to be presentable in a way that like you have a non-technical stakeholder there. So you have to like, instead of talking about, oh, I got my precision score this high, my this is my imbalance class. So instead of saying that, let's rephrase it and say, this will try to reduce your false positive alert. And when you like try to have a spam, like focus on this score, precision score will have impact because you don't just like spam people folder. So something like that, like rephrase into a way that your stakeholder is a non-technical like partner, and you will see a lot like that within WAF. So when you have an interview with WAF, you have like amazing notebook, like all the technical part, but you also have to present, I think, 5 slides for your presentation. That way you show your presentation skill, and you only have like a limit time, I think like 2 to 3 minutes to talk through 5 slides. So make sure that you highlight the key point, all the key points in your presentation, and make sure that you explain it in the way that is like you can tell your interviewer like, hey, I assume that my stakeholder is a mix of like non-technical stakeholder and technical stakeholder, so I'm going to tailor my presentation toward the general audience. So I'm not going to talk about technical this much, but I'm going to highlight what the key points here. So that is my experience when I did the interview.
That's super amazing. And coming on to the next question, I want to ask, like, lots of people have been trying to network on through LinkedIn's or through cold mailings. Do you have any specific tips or advice how to actually make real connections or real actual network with people, where it's like actually which is really helpful for them for to gain, which in future like a potential referral, or just gain their experience or understand them? So do you have any networking tips how they should reach out, because any advice on that area?
I can give some advice. I think Kamli is better at this than I am. So I'll let her talk. But to me, doing cold reach outs on LinkedIn has never worked for me. Maybe I can get them to, reply or to refer me to a position, but it usually never ends anywhere. I've had most success, I think, with people that I've worked with people that I've been around with, like even classmates that maybe I haven't shared a lot, but maybe we did like a homework together. There was one classmate that she was, I think, a year ahead. So we didn't share a lot, but we shared one class. And then just by that, I knew that she was hiring. So like I or she wasn't hiring, but her team was hiring. So she recommended me for a job that got pretty far in the interview process. Like to me, like participating in things and then meeting people through that has been always easier. And it's not just like school things, like even doing theater, I've met a lot of people. Doing events for Penn, going to CAPSA events. CAPSA is a great resource, even if people is not in data science, but they do a lot of events, they do a lot of social things. And it's people that you, I think, have as a pool of people that then eventually might lead into something. But I didn't make those connections with the intent of like, okay, I want to get a job through this. It's just that I want to have a pool of people that eventually someday, might be helpful. But yeah, I haven't done a lot of the like purposeful networking, finding people. So maybe it can be you have a better presence on LinkedIn. I think you can speak to that more.
I did have a lot of success reaching out to Penn people, like alumni. I would just drop a headline like Khanh from Penn Engineer wanted to learn more about you. So that is my headline. And I got a lot of like good response from our alumni work for like Meta, AWS, like, and then even like on the director level or above, like they are very, very friendly. I talked to like one of the senior director at Uber from Penn, and I just dropped that headline, and that headline worked out pretty much for me. um, Related to, just like randomly cold email. Same with Federico. I don't think that worked. But what worked for me is that I went through their like profile, see any of their posts, and then comment to that post like, hey, I really like this point, and then give out your opinion. And that person will eventually reply on that post. And then you get like some first impression, and then you can start like talk to them, like email them like, hey, you just replied my post, I just want to get to know you a little bit more. I really like your point that you made here. Because I did that for one of the director manager at PYMC Lab. He posted something like very funny, and I don't even remember, but I remember my comment there is like, well, as a data scientist, all I know is just call dot fit. And and that comment make, we had a good conversation, and we still keep in touch. So yeah, that is, I think, try to be a little bit like humorous, connect to them in a way that like, you really wanted to know about their work, their job, instead of just like, hey, I need a referral. But like, it's really hard to cold email people without them knowing your background. And like, and because I did the YouTube tutorial, and I have like a podcast that I interview people for their job and their advice. So I reach out to people with that. It's a little bit easier. Like, hey, I have a YouTube channel and I wanted to interview you. Can I get 30 minutes out of your time? So with that, I was a little bit easier to make friend, like make connection through LinkedIn.
Definitely. Actually, that's been really helpful, to be honest, because even I like we all like I think we all start with the cold emailing and getting to know more, but it's like it's always like I think what Federico mentioned and what Khanvi also mentioned, basically trying to meet people in person, talk more about them, reaching out, talking about their opinions, starting a talk, like making an engaging conversation, which I think leads to a good networking or like opinions, which matters a lot. Coming on to the next question, I want to ask, like, do you guys like specifically like was like one of the major challenges you faced during your entire academic journey, and how did you face it? Like, what were the things you did? Like one of the, like you could say like the most hardest or like most toughest challenge you faced during an entire academic year, apart from finding jobs. But yeah.
Yeah, I think coming from a non like technical background, I think is a challenge for me in terms of like getting up to speed with my peer who had a, you know, software engineer undergrad background or something like that, like related to coding. I had a business background, and then I worked at analyst for 2 years, and then I obtained my MBA before I get into Penn. So it's four like career path within that like management style before getting to Penn. So getting to the first semester with the three heavy like foundation class, it was really challenging. But the turning point was that once you get into the routine, the consistency of keep doing it, believe in yourself, keep doing it, break through that point and become much easier after that. So yeah, like also don't feel shy to ask questions. Like I ask a lot of questions that like if you don't understand, just raise your hand. Professor is there to help and to explain. I really like, how the interactive section that we had during class, everyone was like a conversation with professor. Like if you just raise your hand, start a conversation. I learned a lot through that.
Yeah, I think that's a great advice. I also come from a similar background, so I experienced the same. And I will also say I also experienced like a lot of FOMO, like fear of missing out, because there were so many cool classes that I wasn't taking. I felt like I was being limited to like how much time I had or like how much money I had, or like I couldn't take all the classes that I wanted. And especially if there were classes that were like more technical than what I was at. Like, I mean, I think I could have taken the deep learning class that I didn't take, but like those types of classes. And that was until one day I just went to a class that I didn't sign up for. Like I went to audit a class. Of course, I emailed the professor, I asked for permission, and he was fine. And then that was like, it was a class that I just was interested in the topic. I got there and was like, okay, yeah, this is really hard. Like I really need to like sit down and do it. I didn't end up getting deeper into that, but what I was trying to say is like, I realized that yes, there's a lot of things that you're gonna miss out, in the sense like there's classes that you want to take and you cannot take, but it's not like that this is your only chance to learn all of that. Like school ends and there's a lot of resources to learn a lot of things. There's, even as a student, you can audit a lot of classes that if you're interested in like specific topics, you can take that. And yeah, and try to craft your career as it's going. And this is also related to job hunting, but I was talking to a friend yesterday, and she was saying like she is very into yoga, and she was saying that her teacher once told her that the position where you land doesn't have to be the position where you settle. So like, meaning like you might just land a job that is not perfect, or you might sign up for a class that might not be perfect or might not be exactly what you're looking for, but that doesn't mean that you have to settle on that, right? Like you can change classes, you can change jobs, you can keep looking around, you can keep researching and going the extra way to like get more information and craft the path that you want to craft.
I really, really like that. I
Yeah.
think even though you landed something you wanted and you think you always like it, but there's still another opportunity, like keep your eye out there looking for it, or like just be open when it's come.
Definitely. I think that definitely makes a lot of sense, because it's like it's like you're hungry or not like we want something more to learn, and as you want to work lots and lot of, like, you see the industry is evolving so fast and things have been going on, you think that's really cool to learn a particular topic or particular domain, and you want to learn more. And given the current stage feel like I want to do more and more, but given the circumstances, you have to sometimes manage everything efficiently. Coming on, I was just like, want to ask one. I think we are near the time. One last question, like one last advice you would want to give to the current students, like to shape their career path, because our data science program is an interdisciplinary program where we have a lot of electives from ranging where we could take software engineering courses, you could take machine learning, deep learning, research based or Wharton based courses, all different ways. You can shape an entire career journey through this. So you have any advice for students for shaping for anything? What would be anything that would be very helpful for shaping, choosing or finding a good career for themselves?
I would say though, don't be afraid to try out. Um, when I was at Penn, I shaped my curriculum like toward data science, AI, and I avoid all of the software engineering class. But for me, as you know, I tailor my career toward like AI, almost like an AI engineer. The class that I regretted to take was information system, taught by Professor Lin, and then like system design and all of the front and back end class that I was afraid to take at that time, although I really, really wanted to try. But was like, hey, do I have time? But I still have mock interview. I still have to like applying for a job. I would rather just do the course that related to my data scientist at that time rather than like branching out. But I would say though, utilize the time you have at Penn, branching out, like don't be afraid to challenge yourself, to other class, to reach out to people, make connection, be full, like just you can do it. Believe in yourself.
Yeah, those are great points. I would add, like, get started early applying to internships if you're in the first semester, or applying to full-time jobs. I waited because I wanted to like take first like big data analytics, machine learning classes. I wanted to like know things before interviewing. That was a waste of time. No, like you're much better just starting to interview, and because the questions you're gonna get are pretty basic, you can practice, or you can like find courses online about like how to do a basic linear regression. And yes, you might not know maybe the in-depth things, but as long as you understand the general concept of how it works, of what like overfitting, underfitting is, those are the typical things that are going to come out in an interview. Maybe not if you're like applying to be data science for OpenAI, or like a big one that you have to be like super technical. But most jobs, I think, are looking if you have like the base, and you can get the base without taking the classes. You can take it. You can start now refreshing on topics, looking up interviews, materials, and then start interviewing. It might go bad, but the interview itself is going to be a good experience to get going. Like I wouldn't say like this is a numbers game. It's a lot of like trial and error. But as you keep like applying to jobs, also keep improving your resume, building your portfolio, talking to people, meeting people, getting referrals, you know. But don't stop still applying to jobs. I think that's important.
Definitely, that's also great. Actually, really great advice for all the current students. I think we already hit near the time limit for our session. Would have loved to know more about yourself. I know we're in time constraint. Federico, for Stacy, or for me, or anyone, if you have any questions, we are happy to answer you.
Hey guys, I'm Rishima. I just started my journey at Penn as a master's in data science, and I had a question regarding like the resumes for these applications. So I have heard various opinions, like some of them are like you have to tailor each and every resume, but some of them like if you have like a good generic resume, you don't have to tailor for every single thing, maybe like one or two thing. So what would you guys recommend? Like, should we tailor each and every resume? And if yes, what were the tools that you found were the most helpful?
So I did like a hybrid approach to that. I built resumes depending on the job title. So if it was like data scientist, I had one resume. It was data engineering, I had another resume. And it was analytics, or if it was like product, it was different. They weren't very different. It was just like some extra words. I would basically look at positions, like job descriptions that I wanted, and extracted keywords and put them in there. So like for product, they want like specific product things that I would try to weave into my experience. But I didn't custom it to every company unless it was like a really like job that, someone referred to me that, I had a big chance of getting, or if it was like a really like my dream job, I would do it a little more tailored. But for general jobs, I would just have like 4 or 5 versions of my resume with like different job description, job titles. Yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing actually. I did have multiple resume. Um, but yeah, I think for the job that you really like and you really, really wanted to make impress and land it there, tailor it. I used GPT just to like I scrap the entire description, put it there, and a little bit of prompt like, "Hey, you are my ATS assistant. You read ATS through this description. Now give me the top keyword I should have, like I must have within my resume." And then it will give you the top keyword, and then you can just like scrap the entire your resume, put it there, and like now tailor those keywords to what I already have, and it will like quickly give you like highlight to your resume so that what I did for like, still tailor your resume, but faster time. And I also try to use Simplify. If you guys heard about Simplify, it will show you like within that job post, it'll show you like matching keyword and I have like the percentage of your resume match this exact description. It's not always right, but it's like a tool to prefer to if you really like job now come back and then like do a little bit of tailor.
Yeah. Yeah, Simplify is a good one. I also used it. I used to get frustrated because it will always be like, you're 70% matching. And it's like, no, I'm more than 70%. Like it was like they were trying to squeeze the last to you buy pro and get like the 100%. But I think even with like the basic trial, it gives you some good advice. And yeah, and I would say like ChatGPT, of course. And I like Gambi's advice of like tailoring the prompt to make it look like you're like it is a ATS assistant. I would also be careful when like doing that and not just like copy pasting the entire thing and pasting over. Like maybe the formatting looks weird, maybe it looks too AI. Sometimes they if a human is reading that, and might be a little weird. But I always try to, like, when I'm using ChatGPT, just copy like phrase by phrase or segment by segment and read through it and say, okay, I would not say it this way, I would say it this other way. But I think nowadays is also much better ChatGPT for doing this. When we were applying to jobs, it was pretty bad. Like, yeah, like now you can probably do a lot with it.
That makes sense. Thank you.
And also adding to the Simplify, I think it also allows you to there's a web or Chrome extension which allows you to apply much faster, like autofill a lot of general information you have pre-filled earlier. So that's also a good
Yeah.
way to like apply faster, I would say.
Yeah, especially those Workday websites that
With the Workday
never
websites.
your data, you have to fill out like
But those
everything.
I don't understand the point they ask for having filled the work experience and again in the
And then the resume, yeah.
the resume. That's the point. Like why you are asking again?
Well
So
done.
it's just too tedious and it's just monotonous.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Thank you.
No problem. Any other question, guys? We have only 5 minutes left. Anything else you wanna ask? Anything? Anything? Yeah, anything you guys? I was saying like anything you guys
Yeah.
want to share specifically? Anything I forgot or missed during the session? You can.
I had one piece of advice that I forgot to say, that it was like, make friends with a professor or two. Yeah. Because I feel like to me that helped me a lot when I'm on a student visa and I spent like a few months after graduating without a job, and I had to like have something. And the fact that I was pretty close to CCB, I would just like send him an email. It's like, hey, I would like to have a job. Please give me one. And then he was like, yeah, sure. And he made me like a course developer assistant. And it's like, yeah, especially because I took that class of interactive game with him. Like he was like, whatever you need, whatever job, you're always hired. Like it's fine. And then also I was TAing for a long time in big data analytics, and like they are the professors and the other TAs. Like it's always like a good resource to have, because like I had some with CCB. I had some conversations about my career. He recommended me to some Wharton people that then hired me to do like a side project. It's always, I think it's a good resource to have. That usually some classes it's hard to be friendly with a professor, but if you can find the class where you can go to the teacher, the office hours, and and talk to them and get and at least become familiar, so that when you reach out and you would ask for something, they know who you are. They can be helpful.
Definitely. Like
I still teach the 545 with Penn online.
All right. Yeah.
This is one occasion that like I went to Stanford for a conference, and then there's like a buffet line there, so I just like line up and then get food. And one of the students from Penn Engineering Online came to me like, "Hey, you are my TA. I remember you." Make connection, and then later on, she was like, now she's now she at CMU as assistant professor. So yeah, really, really cool that to see how is the Penn network there. Everyone was helping each other. So don't be afraid to reach out to Penn alumni, make friends. Like let's say, be friend with professor. Yes, before that I worked with Professor Sharat, and now I'm still working with Professor Sharat on like AI lab. So it's just very easy to reach out to professor and be like, hey, I want to be part of your research. Can I help with anything that you're currently working on? So like make sure that they know you, who you are, and yeah, have fun.
definitely. I think reaching out to professors and having like as Federico mentioned, having career guidance or career discussions is actually really helpful. Like CCB is one of the professors when I had like one few discussions. I TA'd his course in spring, his new course, Intro to AI, which was for specifically for undergrads. It's like a undergrad version of 521.
Yeah.
It was introduced first time, so it was our very first course, and it was a great experience to develop assignments, homeworks, exams from the scratch, and it was a great engagement. He was really helpful to like make for like once I asked went to his office hours, I was like, hey, I have some career advice. What do you recommend? So I think that's where you try to engage with professors, as you mentioned, and they really help a lot in a lot of areas you find difficult because it's really hectic most of the time.
Yeah. I would say being a TA helps a lot there. Like gives you a lot of time, because you all have like a weekly meeting with the professor. You would
Definitely.
talk about different things, and they know you, and they know that you work and that you are good. So yeah, I became a TA I think on my second semester, and since then I took every semester. chance to be a TA.
Okay, does anyone have any other questions? Anything, Stacy, you would want to add if I forget anything?
No, I think this was excellent. I want to thank you, Federico, Convi, Raza, and everyone who attended. I can already see a study group forming in the chat, so that's great.
Yeah,
Good
it's
advice.
exciting.
Yeah, and I think, just professors are very approachable. Just meet with them, ask if you can help out, and they're often happy to have you join. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll send the recording out. We'll post it to Convi's YouTube channel. So
Yes.
thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And
Yeah.
Feel free to add us on LinkedIn and
Yeah.
great.
or anything. Yeah, we can if you have more questions, we can keep chatting.
Definitely. And thank you so much, Federico and Khanvi, for taking time off your busy schedule. And thank you so much. Hopefully, we'll have you soon again for the next series as well.
Yeah, in the next season.
The next season, we'll see Federico had another job.
Yeah.
It's going to be
I'll be
exciting.
doing something completely different next.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Raza. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.